Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RK Football Podcast. The new season is fast approaching. The summer football is over. Chelsea won the Club World Cup. The Lionesses won the Euros. Credit to them.
Well
Just
done.
a quick mention. Well done to the Lionesses. Back to back. I said they wouldn't do it. They've proven me wrong and every other male hater out there as well. So well done to them. I'm very proud of them. But we're not going to focus on the current goings on this week. We are looking ahead to the new season. Unfortunately, David Newman can't join us. We do have his 1 to 20 predictions. We also have Matt Ty's 1 to 20 predictions, an old friend of the channel, old friend of the podcast. So we'll get through them, I think, at the end, because we haven't given them time to defend themselves because they're not here. So let's just throw it right at the end so people are confused. But we'll start with the three of us. So where are we going to do it? We're going 20 up, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
Let's do relegation zone, bottom half.
Bottom half. Yeah, bottom half to top half, and then
But let's start with that. We'll go. So who wants to go first?
So obviously we're going to start with 20th, the one position no one wants to finish in at all in the Premier League, and I'm going to go with Sunderland here, which is probably not too much of a surprise to some. I've gone with Sunderland. I do think their manager is probably going to get the sack at some point throughout the season, as well with that. I do think that Sunderland have bought well in Granit Xhaka, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't see enough goal machines there that's going to get them over the line. I think defensively they'll be leaking goals as well. So yeah, I just don't see it for me. I think they will be gone. Lack of experience.
Okay. Sunderland bottom. Who's 19th?
Brentford 19th. I do think the loss of Thomas Frank has really showed that a lot of the players don't believe in Keith Andrews. Obviously Norgard leaving, Umbremo, Wissa, and I don't think there's enough there for me that they're going to be staying. Wissa's obviously not gone yet, but he's clearly making it obvious he wants to go now. I do think he is a very good player, and if he does leave, I can't see again where the goals are going to come from for them. They do have a good goalkeeper, obviously, in Kelleher as well. So they have got him, and they have got Jordan Henderson for the experience. But I do think that this season goals is going to be the reason teams are going to be staying up. And they're not. I just don't see where it's going to happen. If there is one thing, Keith Andrews, I think, has been given Mission Impossible out of all the teams. He's been given a very hard job, I think. So, yeah.
Okay, so Sunderland, Brentford.
Yeah.
And who else goes down?
Leeds. I think Keith Andrews, by the way, will keep his job. I think he'll keep his job at Brentford before I go on with Leeds. But with Leeds, I think Daniel Farke could be the first casualty of the season. I think because there's always been this hoodoo that he can't do it in the Premier League. They should sack him before they even get there and all this sort of stuff. I do think he's a good manager, but again, I don't see anywhere in that Leeds side that I go, that's the player that's going to keep him up. When they last here, Patrick Bamford was a good player, and I did think he scored a good few goals. I was surprised he never got a Premier League move back into the Premier League. But I think now he is actually not that player that they can look upon to get the goals. If there is something that's going to keep them up, it is going to be their wingers. And forgive me for the pronunciation, but is it Nontu? I think Nontu and you got Harrison and James. I think those players are going to be key in keeping the team up. But their goalkeeper, I think, is it Musala? I don't know how I'm saying it. Melia, that's it. I don't think he's Premier League quality at all. I don't even think he's very good Championship goalkeeper, to be honest. He makes a lot of mistakes, and I think he will get caught out in this league. So yeah, Leeds are going to be the team that just going to miss out on safety, I think.
It's a very interesting bottom three. Obviously, we've got to give our predictions still, so we're not going to debate it too much at this stage. But once we've done all three bottom threes, I think maybe we can have a little chat. Stu, do you want to go next?
Yeah. Hopefully you can hear me, and obviously everything's all going looking great.
Yeah, just to flag to people beforehand, we were having some technical issues with Stu's camera, so if he's dipping in and out, we are aware. But we're going with it.
Yeah, just a heads up. But anyway, but number 20th, I think it's the same as Matt. I think Sunderland is a safe bet with that one. Interesting with them is like I was having a look at their transfers. I mean, they've bought a lot of young players. I think a lot of them I think they're like most like 20, quite young. And I think the oldest they bought was like 31-year-olds. So I think you do worry that maybe they're thinking, okay, maybe like some clubs, I think like Sunderland, maybe Ipswich did, where they bought young players. So then when they go down, there'd be like quality that they can go straight back up. But it's I don't know. For Sunderland, it's an interesting one because obviously you like that. I don't see anything there that makes you think they've got enough quality to stay up in any way. But you kind of, hope I'm wrong about this because it wouldn't be. As much as it would be nice for once, just for once, that a promoter side or for one of the promoter sides can stay up would be nice. And if it's Sunderland, that'd be beautiful. But I haven't seen anything that makes me think they're not just going to finish bottom. So yeah, I put Sunderland 20th.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's two of us going Sunderland down then.
Okay.
Number 19, I put Leeds. I think I don't think that's really a controversial kind of pick. I don't think. Was it again? Probably the same thing with the manager as well. Is obviously he's his situation of he doesn't really have a plan B, and obviously that's what was in Norwich when his last time. It was just like he plays one system and then he doesn't know what to do when it doesn't work. And that's probably why it doesn't. His record in the Premier League is not great. Like I think he's got like kind of terrible, but but yeah, I'm interested with Leeds though. I was reading somewhere that they're buying a lot of tall players, like, a lot of physical players. I think it's like so I'm thinking maybe that these teams have finally decided to if we're going to go in the Premier League, we've got to start actually having big, tall, physical players that
So what you're saying is by where you're putting them in the league is that they're going to have more mind your head signs than they are points by the end of the season.
Probably, yeah. I like that. Yeah, let's go down. Yeah. No, but I don't know. I just don't think their managers like they could be like. I think they do much better than. I think it'd be much closer this year. But yeah, I just again the same with Sun. I guess I just don't see anything that makes me go they're going to stay up. But we've been one before. But yeah, I've got Leeds.
Okay, and 18th final relegation spot in your table.
Yeah, obviously, I'm sure probably you're not the only one that's probably predicted this. The three promoted teams to go down, but Burnley's probably. I put Burnley, but I put them higher than Leeds because I just think they're kind of because obviously as we all know, Championship they had the best defensive record. I think like 15, 16 goals conceded, something like that. So and it's actually nice for a change for a team to come up and not have this like philosophy, like just come up and say, well, we're a good defensive unit, and basically like you try and break us down. Obviously, the only problem with that, it's all good to not conceding goal. Like, you can't concede goals, but if you've got no goals, can't score, it's kind of mildly pointless. So, and I think that's where that might be their downfall there. But yeah, I don't know. I just think might be a bit of controversial. I think Burnley, if any of the top three teams have probably got a shot of maybe staying up, I would put Burnley, but it's an opinion, of course. But yeah, that's my.
What do you think is going to help keep them up?
What, Burnley or like
if they were to stay up? What do you think will be the?
Well, I mean, the obvious pick would be obviously because obviously, what was the last time we saw a team having that promoted had a really good home record?
Yeah.
It's like I know it's the old adage where it's like if you want to stay up, you got to win your home games. But I don't know. I think it's because we have a lot of teams coming up that kind of have a style of playing philosophy and like forget that you kind of want to and easy to play against, but like. When you got a good defensive unit like that, I just think they'll be harder to beat. So maybe they could be the Burnley we know and love, and maybe might be able to snatch you like a 1-0 win for the entire, and that kind of stuff. But again, we'll probably get down. Scott Parker, same thing as his records in the Premier League's not great as well. So that might be the experience of not keeping teams up probably might be his downfall. But yeah, that's my bottom thing.
Okay, very interesting.
You roll.
So 20th place. 20th place, I've put Burnley.
Okay.
And the reason, this is what I've written in my notes. We've been here before. Burnley too good for the Championship, but not good enough for the Premier League. I think they'll stumble to a few early wins here and there, but by the start of November, they're going to hit bottom. They're going to stay there. They'll be relegated by April. And a couple of reasons. One of the main transfers for Burnley this summer, apart from Kyle Walker coming in, is James Trafford leaving. He's on his way to Man City, their top goalkeeper, obviously. And this is the other question: like, who keeps Burnley up? And that's what I think you guys sort of alluded to. Who keeps Burnley up right now? Who's there? Who's going to get the goals or get the assist? The 8 out of 10 performances every week. I just can't see. I just can't see any way that this Burnley team stays up. And I think this Burnley, especially under Parker, who, like Stu mentioned, hasn't got a good Premier League record. I don't think he's a fantastic man manager. And I think that's going to be key in a relegation battle. He needs players fighting for him. And I think by the time January comes around, I don't think he'll have many players fighting for him. So I've gone Burnley bottom. 19th, and this is one we've all three gone for going down here. I've gone for Sunderland. I really do want them to do well. I genuinely do. I think it's fantastic that a Barclays team is back in the Premier League, so to speak. But losing Joe Bellingham this summer really hurts them. Obviously, I know he's not their key player, but like he would have been a key player in the Premier League this year for them. I think it's a big season for Jack Clarke. Obviously, he's played Premier League with Leeds before, but now at Sunderland, he's had a really good year and a half also at the stadium. Like, he needs to prove that he can be a Premier League player. And if he does, maybe Sunderland can be in with a fight. If he doesn't, where are the goals coming from? I think Matt said this. You look at Mayenda, you look at Isidore. Can they really make the step up from the Championship to the Premier League? I don't know. I can't see it. Xhaka's could be a great signing. We believe that's going through as a recording. It hasn't quite gone through, but should be going through. Okay.
I think what's their famous Twitter guy has just confirmed it. So he's the Bible.
Absolutely. And that could be a great signing, but is it going to be enough? I don't know. I can't see it. And I think it brings up that conversation of this gap between the Premier League and the Championship. It's so hard to overcome. And I think if you don't have a goal scorer that's going to get you 15 goals a season as one of those promoted teams, you're really going to struggle. So yeah, Sunderland. And 18th, I have put a team that one of you guys have said. I have put Brentford.
Yes.
Now, I think, just like Matt, I think this is going to be one of the headlines, really, of the predictions, because Brentford have been such a quality Premier League outfit for a number of years under Thomas Frank. But it feels to me, I've said before in this podcast, no, I'm not impressed by Keith Andrews as the head coach. I think that is a really sloppy appointment, and I'll be happy to be proven wrong, but I just can't see a way that works out. But more than that, all the best players now either have gone or want out, as Matt said. It just feels like this project, this Brentford project that's been running since they come up, has just come to a natural end at this point. I feel like, and I don't know what the next step is. I'm not sure it's Keith Andrews who's got Jordan Henderson as his headline signing. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't scream exciting Premier League future to me. And it all depends. I mean, I'm looking through the transfers. It all depends. So they've signed a young striker from Holland called Milambo, who's going to fill in the Mbuemo gap. And look, Brentford's recruitment over the last few years, last 5-7 years, have been superb. So maybe they've got a gem, but 4 goals, 7 assists in 40 Eredivisie appearances doesn't really scream the guy that's going to bang in a load of goals for them. I think they need probably 2 signings, as not just squad signings, as in 2 players who walk into their first 11 to really stand any chance. And the other thing I think that goes for it is, and we'll get to this when we talk about the teams above the bottom 3 in our predictions, but I just think some of the other teams who are going to be up, are going to be down and around them, probably have more fighters. I think Brentford probably take it to the last day, But on that last day, that last relegation scrap, but I don't know if this Brentford team have got the players that are going to grind out results at the end. I
No.
don't know. I can't see it. I think this is the one that I think I'm taking the risk on. I think Matt probably feels the same. That look, Brentford may well finish 8th in the league. They're so hard to call, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I look at all the other teams and I think there's something else about them that Brentford don't have.
The thing for me when the other thing that played against them staying up as well was when you look at when Thomas Frank even was there. Yes, last season they were good. The season before that, they actually weren't that good under Thomas Frank. They were okay, but they were getting the goals that obviously kept them up. And then you got to think, you take away those players, they'd be down. And they haven't really got like we were just saying there, haven't really got anything that you really scream and go, oh, that's going to be enough to keep them in the Premier League. And it is really sad because I think Brentford have probably been one of the most best pieces of fresh air we've had in the Premier League for some time. They've been really good at times. So yeah.
Well, I mean, we've said on this podcast, haven't we, that Brentford you put into that category with Brighton and Bournemouth, who have brilliant recruitment, staff appointments have usually been bang on. They find these gems, they sell them on, they make money, but they have an impact in the league. I just Keith Andrews and signing Jordan Henderson seems like a step away from that to me for Brentford. It seems like a step away from signing Schade from Germany, for example, who they signed that had this raw talent that needed coaching. I don't know. It feels odd, Brentford this year. They feel odd. They're very un-Brentford right now.
I think that the other thing as well that like you mentioned it there, like, and the best example I can give as to the other side of the coin is Thomas Frank when he's gone in at Spurs. Yes, he's got a proven record, but a lot of the big players could have gone, I don't want to play under him. I don't want to play under him. What's he got to show for it? He doesn't going to guarantee me success or anything. They could have all walked. But a lot of the big players at Spurs have actually stayed. They've actually stayed in there. But I think also Champions League football does help with that. But with Brentford, this guy's gone in and all the big players have gone, I'm sorry. That's it. I'm done. And I don't blame him in a way, but Keith Andrews, God, he must be thinking right now, what am I going to do?
I mean, it should be said, these picks from all of us, every team, but particularly those ones at the bottom, some major transfers could happen in the next month of the transfer window that change things. Brentford right now don't look like a squad ready to stay up, in my opinion. That could change with 1 or 2 signings, so we'll see what happens.
Sign the next Ollie Watkins.
Well, you never know. Matt, 17th.
Okay.
So who stays up by the fingernails? You know.
Hey, West Ham United, and I think that Graham Potter will be sacked. He's going to lose. He's going to be out of a job by mid-season, maybe. I have to say, Carl Walker-Peters is one of the most overrated defenders. He really is. Like, he always seems to be involved with teams in the relegation zone, and they get doomed to relegation as well. So, like, I don't understand what the attraction is with him. Gerard, if the thing that's going to keep West Ham up, though, for me, is Gerard Bowen. Is a big one. He has to keep performing like he has done the last few seasons. And it's also players like Somerville as well. And, like, defensively, they've still got Areola in goal. So, again, I do think that they do have the quality. But the thing that tells me I think they're going to be in and out of the relegation zone. And the reason I say that is because they've got such an aging squad. They're like, it is old, their squad, I think. Like Souček, he's been there a few years now, and I think he's getting on a bit. They've just released Fabianski. I think getting rid of Kudus, yes, he needed to go because of his what he was doing, but I think it is a big loss. It is a big loss, and Spurs have gained a real player there, I think.
Okay. West Ham, go on.
It's also like Soufal as well. Like that experience, he's gone now. So I don't see how they're going to have a great season. Definitely not. So yeah.
Okay. So West Ham just about stay up, but a bad season. 16th.
I've
We
gone
can
for
sort of rattle through these because they kind of
okay, no,
innocuous.
I've gone for Fulham, and
Okay.
again, I think Marco Silva is probably going to be given the boot as well. It was a hard one because I don't look at them and think they're going to be a team that's going to be like really bad, but I think they're not going to be brilliant either. And if there's one player I would point out who it could be the difference between them having a good or a bad season, it's Smith Rowe. I think it's a big season to prove if he is genuine Premier League quality or if he's a really good Championship player for me. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Fulham 16th.
Okay. So, 15th, I've gone for Burnley. And I understand that what we said about goals being a key factor here, but I do genuinely think that Burnley have it's such an impressive defensive record. Yes, it was the Championship, but if they can carry that into the Premier League, it is a bit of a very different style of play that could actually benefit them in the long run. They've got to sign a couple more players, which I think they're capable of, but they've also got the experience in a player like Kyle Walker. So I do think that they will stay up this year. And Scott Parker to be a nominee for manager of the season if he does it as well.
This is the wrong section. Okay, it's not unpopular opinions. Okay,
I'm just saying, if he
I
keeps
mean, look,
them
I
up,
get your point. If Scott Parker takes Burnley to 15th in the league, then yeah, he'll be in that conversation. Because I'll be honest, Scott Parker is one of these I've got as one of the first or second sackings of the season. So that is really interesting. 14th, man.
I've gone for Brighton.
Ooh, okay.
I've got this is a bit of the table where it gets a bit interesting because they could easily finish 14th or they could finish 8th.
Yeah, we're talking that sort of 6 spots, aren't we? Where there's probably about 3 points between them.
I do think Fabian Hurtzler is probably going to be out the door pretty soon as well. Because their form last season did really dip, and I think it could carry on to this season. And then they'll bring someone in, they'll pick back up again. But the loss of Pedro and their fullback, I think he's Colombian. He that's going to be a big loss for them, I think. But I can't see where the goals are going to come from. Defensively, again, they've always been pretty good there. So yeah.
Okay. One more.
And I've gone for Wolverhampton Wanderers in 13th. I think that their manager could really Victor Pereira, isn't it? Victor Pereira. I think genuinely he could bring the best out of this Wolves side, despite the departure of one of their fullbacks in Cunha to the big clubs. I think that there's still enough of the squad there to get the best out of them, and they secured Strad Larsen on a permanent contract as well. So that's a big signing, I think, as well. So yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Stu, give me your 17th.
Well, my 17th is obviously is the team that obviously you guys have put to get relegated, and that is Brentford. But as I said, the skin of their teeth would probably be, would be an apt description. But the same reasons you guys said. Obviously, it's they've lost their manager they've had the success with. They've lost their top assist maker. They're probably going to miss their 2 top scorers, and basically they've been absolutely raided. But I don't know. I think it's. I'm kind of going on the faith of the idea that basically they've still got another couple of months to get something in, and it's not like completely time to salvage it if they get the right transfers in. And obviously they've still got experienced players in a way, so I still think they have enough to stay up. I just don't think it's going to be a tight one. But I don't know. I have seen people put Brentford, but I don't know. It's just I just got a feeling they're gonna just have enough. But it's going to be a tough season.
Hang in there.
It's one you can't argue with too much.
Yeah, it's interesting that we've all got them down there, let's say, and we know how relegation battles work. There's one moments here and there, and the idea that you've got Brentford 17th, Stu, I've got them 18th, Matt's got them 19th. There ain't a lot between those spaces usually, so that says a lot about where they are. 16th.
Well, 16th, I put Wolves. Because obviously, again, that's roughly where these finished last year. Obviously, Cunha gone to Man United, it's obviously a big loss to them. But to be fair to them, they kind of when he was suspended for something, he was like when they had like a couple of games, like they played really well without him. So I don't think it's going to be much of a loss than I think it's kind of you think it's going to be. But yeah, I'm kind of with them. It's kind of an interesting with how I'm thinking of like the manager is like is he a manager that's kind of just a new manager bounce where kind of like just gets you going, or is it next like, or is he a guy that's like a long-term future for Wolves and get them some, get them back to kind of where they were a couple of years ago and kind of challenging for them European spaces. But yeah, I mean, but that's kind of why it's got to put them quite low. So again, it's that's probably it. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what what kind of manager he is. So is he going to be a one that's kind of like he's good at coming in and then eventually but when he's got a full season under his belt, he can't get the same tune. Maybe I don't know, but that's kind of why I've put them lower. But as you guys have put them, was Matt put them a bit higher? Wouldn't surprise me if they do better than that though. But at the moment, from what I've seen, I think 16th seems round about fair.
Okay, 15th.
Again, I put West Ham. I do think they're going to struggle because obviously, as Matt had pointed out, they've got some problems there. But obviously with Potter, I'm still not convinced that his style of play is going to work at West Ham. It's just not the way he's kind of, and also there's no evidence, obviously, from. I think he only won like a couple of games, and he came in about early, January or something like that, quite early on. I think it was. So and he's had a couple of months at least, and I think they only got a couple of wins near the end of the season. So, and from the signings I've seen, and obviously when they've signed big player left to top them, there's nothing there that makes me go, they're going to be challenging anywhere than probably where they are, where I've put them here. So, and when it comes to sacking, if anyone's going to put money in, I would put Potter, probably would be, because I don't know. I just, unless he gets like the place he needs to play, the style he wants to play, I just don't see where the goals are going to come from. Where's they're going to be struggling in a lot of games, and obviously they've let a lot of big players go, so it's a massive rebuild. So, but yeah, I think 15th West Ham's fair, to be honest.
Yeah, 14th.
14th, I put Fulham. Again, when you look at their transfer activity, there isn't any transfer activity. They haven't brought anyone in. Last time I checked. But yeah, I mean, I said Silva. I mean, you can't really go against the guy. I mean, the guy's done one hell of a job at that club, and obviously they haven't. It wasn't like last summer where they kind of lost their kind of one or two of their big players. They haven't lost anyone that I know of. Like through the same squad and the same team. So. Yeah. So I think they haven't strengthened, but they haven't weakened. They haven't weakened either. So I think 14th would probably be a fair swing, because obviously I still think they're going to dip down the table a little bit, but I think they've still got the players that got done so well last year. So I think I think they're still good enough to stay in like bottom half, but it might change depending on the transfers they come in. But yeah, that's what I put 14th for would be for them.
Okay, one more.
Well, 13th I've put Bournemouth. Again, I think they're still quite a good side. Obviously, they've lost kind of like. Obviously, the defense has kind of been ravaged a little bit, but they've still got the front three that terrorised the kind of Premier League, also the Canton football in his first half. So they're still a good side. I mean, obviously, and again, Brentford's one of those, Bournemouth or one of those clubs that are just like the well run. So like you kind of have faith that they can replace the players they've lost quite well. So, yeah. And again, when you win 13th, obviously, it seems a situation of like, I wouldn't 13th, but it'd be close challenging for that like spot for that your Conference League spot. I can see them being quite close. If it wasn't for that month when they couldn't win, like 11 games where they just couldn't win and they kept losing, they would have been up there. So I'm thinking, but yeah, I think 13th is fair now. I think they're gonna, but I think they've still got the quality that they had last season to, challenge for Europe. So but yeah, that's why I put 13th.
It's super interesting. Obviously, I'm writing down each of yours league table. I'm trying to match up of which positions match with others. I'm matching it to mine. It's interesting. Some very similar, some very much not. Right. Where am I going? I'm 17th. 17th, I am going with West Ham. Similar to what Matt says. I've got written here. Another season, same old West Ham. I feel like Graham Potter, I understand he's got his critics. I just don't think he's really been backed enough either this summer. Let's be honest. Tadebo's the centre-back from France, looks like a good piece of business, but that's probably about it. More than that, I think you look at Lucas Paqueta, and I'm like, he's the standout player. He is their best player. I get that. but does he really have the stomach to be playing at West Ham? Last season didn't turn up for them. I'm not sure he's consistent enough or ambitious enough or professional enough. I don't know what the right word is. And another one, where are the goals coming from? Matt mentioned Jared Bowen, absolutely a quality Premier League player. I get that. But apart from him, where are the goals coming from? Fulkrug? Nah. Antonio, at this stage, is he going to get the goals?
He's
Arguably
been let
not.
go.
Well,
He's
definitely
been
not
let go.
then. But you look at the team, and I mean the fact that they had Evan Ferguson on loan towards the end of last season, and that still didn't work out, says to me there's a goal scoring problem. I think they'll stay up, but it will be just. 16th, I have got Wolves, which is very similar to Stu actually. So yeah, same as Stu. Losing Connor is a blow, but I think it's a blow they expected. I think what probably is a bigger blow, weirdly, I think he's losing Ryan Nori. I think he was actually
Yes.
a really big player for them at the back. There's a reason he's gone to Man City and not Man United, for example. Do you know what I mean? He's a really quality player. I think that'll be a big miss. Jakob Strand Larsen's an interesting player. 14 goals for them in the league last year is a very good record. But I feel like in his actual performances, they were just okay performances. And to lead this Wolves side as one of their better players, he's got to be more consistent. He's got to be more impactful off the ball, creating chances, all of this. And if he does, maybe Wolves will be higher than what I've got them as. I think honestly they're going to be a hard watch this season. Wolves fans, I think, are going to have a tough season watching them. There's not going to be exciting football. They're going to struggle. They're going to concede goals. And it's interesting you said about Vitor Pereira, and I think Matt said he'll have a great season. Stu's I actually think he'll go this year, and the reason I say that is because Wolves have a tendency of not backing their managers and then blaming the managers. And so
Yeah.
far this summer, they haven't really backed him. There's no real movement at Wolves yet. Yes, Jakob Strand Larsen's made a permanent deal, but I wouldn't. That doesn't feel like enough to me. So I'm not sure where they're going to end up. I think they'll stay up. I think they've got enough quality, but it's going to be a hard season. It's going to be a slog, and something's going to have to change at Wolves for them to not go on a continued downward slide right now. 15th, this is a completely different one to you guys. 15th, I've got Leeds United. Now, I know Matt says they're down, Stu says they're down. There's a couple of things for me that I think maybe I'm more hopeful. Obviously, again, like Sunderland, it's fantastic having Leeds back in the league. The change to their recruitment method this year compared to previous Premier League attempts is really fascinating. So if you look at their transfers, they're not aiming at 22-year-olds. They're not aiming at 35-year-olds. They're in that middle bracket of players that have got some experience, but are now starting to prove themselves in top levels in Germany, in France, and wherever they've signed from. This 26 to 30 years of age bracket is really interesting. It could completely fail, or it could pay off. So I'm putting a guess out there with this one. The other thing for Leeds,
with the height issue as well, they all got their heads in the clouds anyway.
That's it. The other thing for Leeds, as Matt hinted at, they're lacking a goal scorer. We're going to say this with a few teams. I think they're lacking a goal scorer, so they will be in that conversation. But I just fancy them at the end of the season to pull clear. I think the home games are going to be key. We mentioned it for Burnley. I think for Leeds in particular, Ellen Road, if they get that rocking and they make Ellen Road a place that nobody wants to play this year, then I think they've got a chance of staying up. The truth is, I think they'll be maybe 2 points between 15th and 19th this year. It's going to be very close between a few teams. So Leeds at 15th isn't, they're going to have a great season. It's going to be, they're going to struggle, but they might just make it. Right, 14th. And again, another match here with Stu, Fulham. I don't think Fulham are a bad team. I don't think they're a good team. And I think that's kind of sums up Fulham quite a lot at the moment. They lack goals, they lack excitement, but they are also quite difficult to beat at times and quite nifty on the ball. And they are the perfect definition to me this year of a Premier League mid-table team, Fulham right now. And I think without revealing too much of where they're going to end up, but I think we're all in the same bracket with this. I think we all think the likes of Spurs and Man United are going to have better seasons than they did last season, and I think it just means teams like Fulham are going to drop a little bit more. They'll be comfortable, they'll be mid-table, but again, no investment in a pretty already average team, you're gonna not improve on average, are you? That's my attitude with Fulham. And finally, 13th. I think this one's gonna shock because this is a team we've not mentioned yet. 13th, I've got Nottingham Forest. Yeah, they had a fantastic season last season, and they did. But look, I actually think losing Alanga is going to be a bigger loss than if they'd have lost Morgan Gibbs White. I think Alanga was much more impactful in the final third. Like Chris Wood got a hatful of goals, yes. Without Alanga near him, is he getting the same amount of goals? I'm not sure. The other thing for them is whether it's Europa League or Conference League, they're going to be playing a hell of a lot of games this season. I can't see a squad there that can handle playing in Europe, maybe having a cup run and the Premier League. What else have I written? I think Elliot Anderson could be one to watch this year. I think he's definitely had a great Euros for the England under 21s. I think he'll be a key player for them in the midfield and definitely step into a bigger team over the next few years. My biggest question with Forest is this: will their really strong defence of last season, which it was one of the best defences in the league, I get that. Will it be the same again, or will they have that sort of second season syndrome where people find them out, find their weaknesses? That's my concern with Forest. And if the defence is there, they'll probably be higher than this. But if the defence cannot keep to the incredibly high standard they put last year, I think they're going to have a pretty average season.
It's funny your take on Gibbs White. Like for me, I think that he is as important to Nottingham Forest as Kevin De Bruyne was to Man City. Like because Kevin, like losing that creativity in the midfield, it allows attacking players to go, when that guy gets the ball, I know exactly where to be.
Yep.
And they can just run for it, and that player will just release the ball. And that's what Gibbs White does do in the system that he plays in with Nuno's Bruno Santo in the dugout. Now, yes, losing the Alanga is going to be huge. I do think that it's going to be a loss, but I still think that there are going to be someone may come in who is still going to benefit from it. Maybe not produce as many goals, but will benefit from his service. I do think.
Okay.
So,
Again, this is off the transfers at the moment. If they go and sign a striker that gets them 20 goals a season, it's a different story.
let's record it again.
I just think there's for Forest again. The big thing is the amount of games they're going to play. You look at that squad, and it's you either have a good Premier League season or a good European season. There's not going to be both. So I think they'll throw everything at a European season. I think that's what clubs tend to do, and I don't know. I think that the slip off in 2025 as well from Forest, I think hasn't been talked about enough. Think back to January, they were in the top three and they were not far off title contenders at one point, really, in the top three. I mean, Liverpool ran away with it. I get that, but do you know what I mean, they were right near City, they were right near Arsenal, and they ended up in seventh. That's a massive drop off in 4 months. So I don't think that's spoke about enough. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement over a few of these teams. I mean, as I say, I've bolded a few of them. Fulham in a similar area for all of us. Wolves in a similar area. I think the only surprises in mine is probably Leeds higher than you guys and Forest, I guess. But we will see. I think at this point, go on.
The one thing I did want to say though is that, like, out of all the teams we've mentioned so far, so relegation all the way up, there's only probably 4 teams you'd say that have a goal scorer who they can probably rely upon going into the new season. I would say that would be Strad Larson would be 1 for Wolves, Chris Wood, like for Nottingham Forest, Bowen for West Ham. No. And I would also say, who was the guy I was thinking of? The guy from Fulham.
Yeah, Muniz.
Muniz.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
those
look,
players, I think.
You
Bowen's a
want to the figures, don't
creative
they?
force. Bowen is a creative force. I'm not disagreeing with that. But these teams at the bottom need someone who's going to get at least 15 goals a season to really be safe. And there's no goals in West Ham. In West Ham there's nobody
Well,
getting 15 goals a season in West Ham.
It's been a problem for a while for them, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause obviously, for that Fulberg, the guy that was before obviously found out he was injury prone, he was supposed to be their solution because obviously he was kind of an old
He
school kind of
was.
poacher.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
obviously he just barely played last season. It's kind of like to the
I
back
think
to
there's
square
also
one.
something at West Ham in general. I mean, this is probably a conversation for a different podcast, but I mean, you look at Fulkrug's a good example. Great record in Germany. Couldn't do it in this West Ham team. You look at Evan Ferguson, as I mentioned, coming from Brighton in the summer, a player that really has some great qualities, and I think he'll have a good season at Roma this year. But
Yeah, what a sign.
couldn't make it work at West Ham. And again, I remember saying in this podcast that feels like a great signing for West Ham, and it just didn't work for whatever reason. I wonder if it's a tactical thing, but whatever. I don't know. Goals just don't seem to be coming to West Ham.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to mention on them 5 teams before we move on, or 5 slots?
I do think I do agree with you, Carl, in what you said. There won't be much like last season. Spurs and Man United were very lucky to finish nowhere near the relegation zone in terms of points.
Yeah.
But this season, I think it's going to be, we're talking a maximum, probably of 5 points from 17th from 17th to 18th.
We've got a lot of different promoted styles in the promoted sides as well that I think is different. Because obviously, when you look at last season, it was Sheffield United, Leicester, and who's the third one? Can't think of the third one anymore. But yeah, but basically, like, when you're looking at the teams, you were like, yeah, they're blatantly going down, right? There was no hope. But with these obviously with Leeds, Burnley, as you guys have put them quite high to maybe kind of survive, it's just like, and Sunderland as well. I don't know. I think there's more different styles of play that could maybe, so there's a good chance at least one of them will probably at least.
Yeah, I've said this before. I think the relegation battle is going to be super interesting this season.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard to call. I think in January, we'll probably look back on this and have a different bottom 3. To be honest, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I think on what Matt says there about the closeness, I think it's where this year we'll see mini leagues, I think, in this Premier League. Your 12th position.
So I've gone with Crystal Palace. I think that now I'm right in thinking they're in the Europa League, aren't they? They have gone into
conference.
I think
they're appealing it, aren't they?
Yeah, so they're at the moment they're in the Conference League according to UEFA, but they are appealing it. So again, them or Forest will be in the Europa League. One of them will be in the Conference League.
So yeah, there's still European competition there. I do think that Glasner is going to manage it well. I do think that he will be sitting there thinking, right, we want to do well in Europe, but then we also want to have a stable season in the Premier League. They're not going to be involved in relegation, I don't think. They'll get a couple of scalps throughout the season against the big sides. And I do think that a lot of their success will depend on whether Eze stays. I don't think he will. I think he will go because there's been so much talk about him leaving. And he's even said himself that he wanted to join Arsenal. It's too much for me to go, he's staying. No, surely he's going. But I think Oliver Glasner is probably the best manager they could have going into this campaign because he's got all the experience as well to back him as well, especially what he's done at Frankfurt. So yeah.
Okay, 11.
Okay, 11th. Bear with me. I have my notes. I've got Nottingham Forest. Now, the funny thing is I actually did have Nottingham Forest 13th. But then Stu kindly put on our group chat that Morgan Gibbs-White had then transferred, had signed a new contract. So straight away I went, you're going there. Like, I think that he's that important to him. And defensively, remarkable last season. And I think with Santos still there, he can still install that method of play. They've still got that same back line. The midfield hasn't really been interfered too much. Attacking wise, goals are going to be harder to come by. Chris Wood's not going to be as prolific as he was last season, probably. I think everyone can probably argue that. I think Callum Hudson-Odoi is going to be a big player for them this year, if I point out any player. But yeah, balancing that with European football, I think they're not going to be up there. They'll be more staying around mid-table throughout the season, I think. So.
Okay. Yeah. 10. Who's bang on in the middle? Who is the most average team in the Premier League this year?
Bournemouth. And I
Okay.
think I think the manager is going to have they're going to have a better season than they did last season. I do think that. But hear me out when I say this, because they've lost, like Stu mentioned earlier, they've lost their two really good defenders to Liverpool and Real Madrid, respectively. But they've also kept Semenyo at the club. Petrovic is a permanent signing from Chelsea, and he had a great season in Ligue 1 on loan last season, and he's now gone to Bournemouth. I think that's a hell of a signing. I really do. I think that there's a lot there for me that does tell me they're not going to be in trouble at all. They are again going to claim some scalps, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if 10th is my minimum expectation of them. I think they could be a team that will challenge in Europe. That could challenge in European places.
I just want to point out that you've said you think they'll have a better season than last, but finish a place below.
Yeah, but like in terms of like their consistency will be throughout. Like that,
okay. I hear you.
I think there'll be that consistency.
I hear you. Right, we need one more from you. Who's finishing just outside a European space, let's say?
Well, a team that no one has mentioned, and I'm actually very surprised that no one's mentioned them yet, is Everton. I've actually gone with Everton to finish 9th. David Moyes, when he went back to Everton, it felt like I was back in my younger days. It really did. It was like, oh, get in. He belongs at this club.
Yeah.
And I think that he's really going to get the best out of the players he's got there. I mean, they've still got Braithwaite. They've got Beto, who was good last season at points. And I think that if he's told he's the main man with Calvert-Lewin gone, he could thrive under that. Mm-hmm. And they've got, was it McNeil, who did shine under Moyes as well. I think they're going to be the surprise package of the season. I can see it. And they've got one of the best keepers in the Premier League in Pickford. So I think, they'll be really good.
I mean, I'm not going to say too much, but it's very interesting. And I think when we get to the top 8s, there's going to be a lot of similarities, but we'll see which way round it is. Stu, let's go to your 12th position.
Well, ironically, I think me and Matt's going to have very similar positions, I think, with some of these teams. But with obviously with 12th, I mean, I think it was, if you're going to pick a 12th spot team, has to be Crystal Palace. I mean, it's pretty much their kind of spot, isn't it? 12th is what, as good as going to get. And to be fair, if they have the season, they're probably, whatever happens with that stuff with the what European, competition they've been, they've still got European commitments. So it'll be interesting to see if they can deal with that. But again, when Matt pointing out Eze, like if they can keep him, I mean, it's probably unlikely. I mean, I would say has it died off with the Arsenal interest, because obviously with when he got, I can't remember his name, but they've kind of filled that position a little bit. So where would he go? So maybe he might stay, but if they can keep him, I think they've still got most of the team that won the FA Cup last season, and they're really good, and they've still got a really good side. I think it'd be interesting to see if they can handle European football. But yeah, I think that's a pretty safe one, isn't it? Like Palace 12th, it's pretty straightforward now.
11th.
Well, 11th, again, it seems like we're on the same wavelength with Matt in this one. We'll see. I put Nottingham Forest lower, and then when I shared that thing about Morgan Gibbs White, I propped them up a couple of positions. So I guess we had the same train of thought with that one. But yeah, obviously, again, if you point out, like they've still got the structure of the team that done well. Like if they lost Morgan Gibbs White, I think that would have been like, oh no, this is going to be a problem. But yeah, I mean, they've still got the core side to kind of done well, and obviously I think with the European competitions, it wouldn't surprise me if they do well in that, because obviously you don't have to be like, well, I mean, West Ham's perfect example of that, when like kind of you could just be a really good defensive side and then go on the counter, you could probably win. And if they get, and they probably would want to be in the Conference League more anyway, because they've got a better chance maybe winning it. But yeah, I think they've still got the call there. I mean, yeah, they kind of slipped up near the end, and obviously I did point out, I think one of the early podcasts, that they do only have one plan, and when they don't have their they're a counter attack inside. So obviously if they don't have that, what's their plan B? I'm still a bit unsure of that, but still enough quality there, I think, to be mid. I mean, I find it funny that basically with Nottingham Forest, it's like everyone's like, it's going to be it's only going to be 11th position. It's like, for them, they'll be laughing. They'll be happy with that one. I think Nottingham Forest, because again, they're staying in the Premier League. So I think anything. I mean, also, I'm not making the same mistake I did last year and put them 18th, because I got that 100% wrong. So I'm not making that same mistake twice.
Interesting. Okay, so who is 10th?
I mean, I'm surprised you guys haven't put this team in 10th, because it's the obvious pick for me. And obviously, I'm glad David's not here, because he probably won't like me for this. But
here we go.
Man United 10th.
No way. Oh my God.
Let's wait.
I don't understand. Like this, but again, this is it might come across as a Liverpool, like, sticking it to Man United. But yes, they've made some good signings in Cunha and in Burmo. But again, it's a simple issue. I'm still unsure. Like with Amwin, has he got? Again, it's like we haven't got no evidence really to prove that he's going to make this team any better. Again, good signings. They've still got a lot of things. They still need a forward. They kind of probably still need a keeper. I mean, I saw was it a rumor that they might go? What's it, the PSG keeper?
I've done a rumor.
Yeah, I heard that. I was like, that's mental. That is absolutely insane. Why would he leave the European champions to go and play for Man United? But that's transfer rumors for you. But yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, I think that's what really stuck to me. It's like, we're here again, another season, new manager. Yes, he's had half a season, but another new manager, a system hasn't proven that it's going to work. Attacking I honestly, just in my opinion, like anyone that's kind of putting Man United higher than this is going on who they were and not who they are, I would say.
Okay. Interesting. Finished off your 9th place. I think I know who it is, but okay.
Yes, obviously this one is same with Matt. I put Everton. I mean,
3 out of 4.
Yeah, man. Good
Copy.
I mean, well, I had a chance to see your list, so I thought, might copy it. But I thought this was like a controversial pick. But obviously, when you guys picked, it's like when I first thinking of predictions last season with how Everton were doing in the back end, I was like, if you've been doing predictions for next season, you've got to put Everton up there, because obviously, again, David Moore, he's perfect fit for them, that kind of style of play they want to play. And again, I just think he got a tune going for them, and obviously if he's got a pre-season with them, they're going to be one hell of a team to watch and play, and that kind of stuff. But obviously, the only thing I guess would make it a bit more worrying is obviously we didn't really mention it, is the idea that they're in a new stadium this season, so
yes,
that might, because obviously I think the same Arsenal, like when Arsenal moved to their new stadium, they were a bit iffy at it for a little while before they got used to it, because obviously when you play from Highbury to the when we are at Arsenal's new stadium, like you got to get used to kind of bigger pitch, bigger that. So I think that might be a case to maybe it'd be interesting to see how the first couple of home games go for them, to see if they can, if it's going to be like they struggle and then move into it, but yeah, I think that might be why if anyone's put them any higher, might be reason why they're down bottom. But yeah, I think, I don't know, I've got a good feeling about it. First time in a long time, I think Everton have got something to look forward to. So, and it would be nice to see Everton back in the European spaces again. It's a really big club and they deserve to be out there.
Very, very interesting. Right, I'm going to go 12th and stay on the same conversation, because I've put Everton 12th, and I think I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying, and I get you've got them slightly higher, but I think 12th is a good season for Everton with where they've been over the last sort of 5 years. The new stadium's a big part of it for me. This new stadium, new era. You're absolutely right what you say about Arsenal. I think there is a question mark whether the same thing will happen to Everton, but I wonder if it'll be the opposite. It's not like this Everton team have enjoyed playing at Goodison Park over the last few years. It's not like it's been a happy hunting ground for them. Do you know what I mean? I wonder if a new start, new era, new feel. Also, like, David Moyes came in and turned them into a team that, like people were really wary of playing against, rather than, oh yeah, Everton, that's 3 points. So I think if you can build on that, there's definitely some progression this year for them. I think obviously they've made the move for Thieno Barry, I think is the sort of big transfer they've made this summer, a striker to fill the boots and go alongside Beto, or probably take his place if it goes well, because obviously Beto is done well for them, but he's very limited in what he can do, and he's a one-style player. And Barry will hopefully add something different. My concern with Everton is if that doesn't work out for them, maybe they're lower. But I'm going to go 12th. I'm playing safe. I'm going 12th. 11th, I've got Palace. So slightly higher than the pair of you, just by a place, but a similar thing. Look, they're a team boosted by that FA Cup win, but more than that, I think they're a team that have like this Europa League stuff. I think will have a really positive effect on Palace not playing in the Europa League, as in this appeal and being taken out, this injustice.
And
They've
us
got
against them.
something to, yeah, they've got something that they can just drill into that dressing room. Nobody likes Palace. Nobody wants us to succeed. All of this stuff that you see do so well in a sports dressing room. The two question marks are, of course, Eberechi Eze, who I think will go, and also Mark Gahey. I don't think you guys mentioned Mark Gahey probably will go as well, and that's going to be a hole to fill. What I think Palace will do, and I think I've taken a punt here by having them as high, because if they don't, they could be lower. I think they'll make a lot of late moves in the window, and I trust this Palace recruitment team over the last 5 years to
Yeah,
get those right.
Yeah.
So if they do that, I think they'll have a mid-table season, possibly a cup run again, and have some fun in Europe wherever they are. Adam Wharton's going to be the one to watch though with Palace, I think, this year. If Eze goes, Wharton will end up stepping up, being the main man, and I think in 12 months' time we'll be talking Adam Wharton to a top 16 for 50 million quid. To be honest, I think there's a big future in him.
only
Number
50
10.
million. I'll have him.
Yeah. Number 10, I have not gone Man United. I have gone Brighton. I think Brighton, along with another team, which I think I'll get to in a minute, if that doesn't give too much away, are in this level of a good manager, great squad recruitment, but I think this is a transition year for them. Look, Pedro's gone, and if you look at the transfers they've made, they're 19, 20, 21 years of age sort of players. So they're signing for the future at the moment. And I just wonder where the consistency is going to come from, if that makes sense. I don't to make a push to a seventh, a sixth, they're in a position where they need the players they've signed as gems to massively overperform than what's expected, or they're going to have to just change tact a little bit and bring in one or two players that are game changers in the league. And I don't know whether they've got that at the minute. It's a safe mid-table, still a decent season for Brighton. They might fancy a cup run, I think, this year. But I don't think many fans will be upset with 10th. They might want more, but they won't be upset with 10th. Bringing me on to 9th, the best of this mini league is what I've written. I've got Bournemouth, top class manager, top class recruitment, but they've lost their best centre back. They've lost their best left back. Right, that's two big holes to fill. So again, like Brighton, they're going to need to get into a Europa League spot. Let's say they're going to need Evan Nielsen and Semenyo to massively overperform. Good players, but I'm saying they're going to have to. Do you know what I mean? Be at the same level that Morgan Rogers was for Villa over the last 12 months, for example. And that would be a massive overperform at the moment for them. Or they're going to need to bring in proven Premier League top six talent to get them into that next level. I don't think they will, so I've gone 9th. And I think we're all on the same sort of wavelength there. These are Premier League mid-table teams. I'm glad we all think Everton will have a good year this year. I hope they
Yeah.
will. And I think we're all on the same wavelength. Forest will fall off. Bournemouth, Palace, Brighton to a point. Matt's got Brighton to me a little low at 14. I'll be
The
honest.
I I can't see. I just cannot see how they're gonna have a. I don't see him going down. I think they're really going to struggle this year. Like you say, Carl, it's a transition year, could be for them, and then next season they could then climb back up again. But yeah, I just don't see what's going to come this season that could be good for them.
Yeah.
Apart from staying up.
So we're all on the same wavelength, and actually looking at the teams. I mean, I'll say it this much at this point. I'm just double checking through. Yeah. Stu, out of the three of us, is the one linking us all together. So Stu has got Sunderland match with Matt, Wolves match with me, Fulham match with me, Palace, Forest, and Everton match with Matt, which is interesting. Matt
So
has got
me and you haven't got anything in common, Carl.
me and
What
you,
chances of that, eh?
me and you have got West Ham at the same spot, and that's it.
There we
Which is
go.
interesting. We have the same teams going down more or less, but different spots. It's just interesting.
Would you argue, by the way, all of us, would we all argue that all those four teams we've said, bar Man United, would you argue that all those four teams could have better seasons than worse seasons?
They're hard to call, aren't they? Depends on the transfers. I get what you're saying.
Like all of them could be higher up.
I think if you were to name that mini league of those four teams, it's teams that the top 6 and 7 don't look forward to playing.
Yes,
I think that's what sums them up quite well. Matt, we'll go with your 8th team.
Okay, I've gone with Aston Villa. I have here. I think that once again they've kept hold of some big players, which is a good sign. But I think if Emi Martinez does leave before the transfer window shuts, I think that Villa will definitely struggle. Then I really do. Am I right in thinking that? What's it? Oh God, let me just check something. Yeah, they also got Europe as well. They've got
Europa League to play this year, yeah.
And I don't think their squad's quite bulky enough to compete in that and also do well in the Premier League. Last season they done well in the Champions League, but I don't feel like they got many big name injuries. And I think that this year could be that year where, unfortunately for them, someone like Ollie Watkins or what was it like? I'm trying to think of one on the top of my head now. But like one of their centre backs could get a big injury, and it just means Consa, that's it, could get a big injury. I just feel like it's gonna be one of those years for Villa. But I think that it's going to be a big breakthrough season. I feel like for either Jacob Ramsey, like big season for him, and probably last season at the club for Morgan Rogers. I think he'll have one more year at the club, and then he'll be off next year.
Okay. This year. I can see it. We'll get to it. 7th.
I've gone with Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
They were higher, but Morgan Gibbs-White is not at the club, so they've dropped. He decides a lot here. I think Thomas Frank's philosophy will come as a nice welcome at to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They've got the right players to do it as well. The only concern I've got is that Frank's never had to compete in the Champions League level before, so he has got to contend with that as well. Like, how is he going to manage those expectations as well? No big players have left either, which is always a good sign. I think Kudus is a brilliant signing for the club. It'll be interesting to see how well he does. But yeah, I think 7th would be a good season for them after the season they've just had, definitely. So okay. Yeah.
6th.
I've gone with Manchester United. I think the benefit of them not having any European football whatsoever is going to be huge for them. I'm not saying they're going to do anything like Chelsea did, but I remember when Chelsea won the league in 2017, that year, Antonio Conte had no European football to worry about. And we just focused all on the league and went flying for it. And we were just brilliant. And then win the league. I think that's the benefit Amorim's got. He will take advantage of that. And he's got the attacking players to do it. I do think Onana is going to benefit from a pre-season with Amorim in charge. I don't think they're going to bring in another keeper. I do think they're going to do all right this year, and I think we'll start to see this year what Amorim really is about. So yeah.
One more to complete the rest of the league before the top four comes.
Now, this is where it get hard. So I actually went with Newcastle United. I did. I think that if in 2 weeks' time, if Isak has left the club, then I wish I kind of put him lower down. But I actually think Isak won't leave this summer. He said he wants to explore his options, but he's never said he wants to leave. He just said he wants to explore his options. Now, I think that it's going to be a similar thing. I don't know if you remember when Cristiano Ronaldo left Man United back in like 2009. The year prior to that, he said he wanted to leave, and Alex Ferguson said to him, "Look, stay on another year. We're gonna, and then I'll let you go next summer." I think that's what Eddie Howe's going to try and say to him: is please stay on for this year, fight us, fight Champions League football with us. Let the big teams around the globe see you play, and then we'll let you go next summer for a humongous fee. I think that's what's going to happen. And I also think Newcastle, again, no big players they've let go. If they sign Trafford as well, that's going to be a cracking signing. They've got their Nick Pope and Trafford in their ranks.
Trafford's on his way to Man City.
Oh, sorry, Man City. Sorry, I got that
But
confused.
Newcastle, to just for all information, have made a bid for Aaron Ramsdale to be their backup keeper.
Yeah, and that would be. I think that'd be a good signing for them as well. But yeah, I think that Newcastle will be in and amongst it still a lot better than when they were last time in the Champions League and they dropped off completely. I think they've got a better side this season to cope with it.
Okay, interesting. I think there's going to be some similarities across the three of us here. Stu, number 8.
I've put, obviously, I think as you mentioned them earlier, I've seen Brighton, but I put them higher. Yeah, I think they'll be 8th. I mean, it's really weird. Again, it's never a good one club. So I see, yes, they've lost they've lost some big players, but like I think again they're a club that's so good at finding these gems that you think just when you think they've sold one another their best players, all of a sudden they find this another player and it just becomes. So I mean, obviously you got that feeling that eventually you can only do that for so long until eventually you get caught out, but. Yeah, I think that's really what I'm thinking when I put them higher because I think they obviously still got a couple like a month in the transfer window, and I think they're going to be able to find that gem. I think, but and also the manager they've got in, he's had a year to bed in and stuff. So I think you're saying like a transitional season. I think they had that was last year. I think that was the transitional season. So I think if there was with the money they've got from Chelsea, they should be spending it on. I think they'll get a striker and they'll get someone that can get the goals. But yeah, I just think that we're talking about Brighton here. I think it's just really hard to go against them because obviously they've been a club that's been really good for the last couple of years. So yeah, I think them, and also they just missed out on Europe last year, just so I think they were just off it. So yeah, I think Brighton's I think it's good for them.
Okay, 7.
Again, seems like me and Matt on the same wavelength. I'll put Spurs top them 7. But yeah, I mean, again, it's the same thing. Thomas Frank, I just think he's perfect for Tottenham. I think the kind of the problem with Tottenham is they've been trying to get managers that are kind of like philosophy type stuff, or like managers that are like top tier one. But they're most successful when they've got a manager that kind of when the kind of the underdog, but kind of like the better at the man management stuff, or just that an unknown in a kind of way, like being at a big club. Because I just think his man management and the kind of way they're gonna get them playing, I think they're just going to be a different beast this season than they were last year. And also, it probably does help that they haven't got a manager that's got kind of all-out attack and no defense. So I guess and they've brought a lot of defenders in. So expect more clean sheets this season for Tottenham than they had last year because I would love. It's unbelievable, but yes, I just, and also it'd be interesting to see how they do in Champions League. But again, I think they brought him in just to stability. I think they brought him in because they've got a guy that can work on the budget and can work with the players he's got. And I think he can, and also they'll be on. We all forget like as much as we all think where they finished the league, and they won the Europa League, so that get that trophy drought off their back. So now they've got more confidence going in the season. So I think they're just going to jump on that. And new manager, kind of win a trophy, yeah, I think Tom just can do really well in this next insert. And wouldn't surprise me if they're hanging around those Champions League spots, but fade away near the end. But yeah, I think seventh's right spot for them.
Okay, 6.
Or sixth, I think Carl's gonna be after this one. Yeah, I think I put Aston Villa sixth. As much as obviously so you could see in their business it's been a bit quiet. I mean, interesting about Villa is like what's going on in the way, because obviously not a lot of big stuff going on there, at Villa at the moment when it comes to. But again, the same thing. They've still got the same team. They've still got the same team that kind of done well in the Champions League. They've still got, obviously they've got one or two big, kind of a big names still there. But their problem, I would say, probably would maybe if they weren't supposed to go low is because, again, they've got a good team, but they need to properly strengthen. Properly, because obviously at the moment they haven't really bought anyone that catches the eye, if you know what I mean, in my opinion. Yeah, I just again, it's I think again, Umwemwe's got to put a really good team together here, and I think they've still got that kind of mentality. And I think sixth is probably the right position for them. But again, I think they're still challenged for. I think they'll be up there like last 2 seasons Champions League. But yeah, I think sixth, good chance.
And fifth.
Fifth is obviously maybe I'm just trying to take my luck because last season I put Newcastle fifth, so maybe I'm thinking second time lucky, see if I can get it the same again. But yeah, I mean again the same thing as putting out like Isak, like that's huge to them. They need to if they can keep him, then they're definitely gonna be up, challenging for Europe and challenging for all the competitions again. But yeah, I mean, I honestly I think as much as Liverpool fan I really want to play for Liverpool, I honestly think this is a contract strategy. He's trying to say he's leaving to kind of push. I think he's like 300 or something like that. He's like not on a very good kind of wage. We wouldn't surprise if he's pushing it just to see what if he can maybe get a new deal. And because I don't think it did kind of come out of nowhere. He said like all of a sudden it's like we asked him, is he for sale? He said no, okay, and then we went away and got Ekatika, and then all of a sudden 2 weeks later he's like coming out saying, oh no, I want to explore other options. I'm like, well, where's this come from? Like it's madness. But like, if they can keep him, I think that'd be a big one for them. And also, again, as I probably alluded before, it's like Champions League football. Like last time they had Champions League football, they didn't do very well, and obviously had a big injury crisis. And I don't think they have the squad to deal with that again. So I do worry for them a little bit in that sense. But again, if they keep Isak, I think that's fifth's definitely where they'll be. But if they don't, then I worry for them a bit.
Okay, interesting. So you've got 2 there with Matt, Newcastle and Tottenham, 5th and 7th. Okay, so I've got 8th place, Man United. So yeah, I think Matt's a little high, and I think Stu's a little low. Brian Mbeumo is a great signing. Kuhn is a great signing, and if they get Benjamin Sesko through the door, which seems to be an option right now, that's 3 pretty impressive moves. I think it builds on that core that started to build at times last season with Bruno Fernandes, Ugarte. I think Lenny Yoro is going to have a decent season at the back for them. I think he's really going to come along now from a young potential star to something a bit more consistent. I do think they need a new keeper, and that's the problem. But I think if they get a new keeper and they get Sesko, that's a good window for United,
Yeah.
and I think you can't look past that. They can't keep being awful. That's the thing. Like I get it. It's United, and there is question marks, and I've got here. It's hard to call because United. It's so hard to call. They could finish 16th again, but at some point, it's just got to click. And if it does, if it's not going to click now, I mean, I can't. I won't get it because I do rate Amorim. I think he's a good manager.
Yeah.
And I think if he gets a striker that fits his build, then United are going to be a lot more difficult to play. They can't be as bad as last season. I don't think they'll be anywhere near the top 6. I think they'll be closer to Bournemouth than 7th, let's say. But I think it'll be improvement. It'll be progression. It'll be, once again, one of these teams that no one's going to want to come across. And I think it'd be more of a challenge for people. 7th, I'm going Villa. So I've got them lower than Stu and slightly higher than Matt. I think it's going to be a real struggle actually for Villa this year. I think 7th is me saying we're not going to challenge for top 4 this year. But we have more than enough quality to be in that Europa League, Conference League hunt. And the main reason I say that is the lack of transfer movement. As it stands, realistically, to improve as a team, we need a new right back, a new striker, and a new right winger. And there's no signs of that at the moment. And Villa are very good at keeping things quiet, so maybe it will happen. But at the moment, it doesn't feel like that. And similar to what Matt says, it's departures that could probably decide this. If any of Watkins, Martinez, McGinn, or Rogers go, it's going to get it's going to be hard to even get seventh. The truth is, and if one of them gets injured right now, it's the same story. The only thing I've written here for Villa that I think I've taken as a positive is the Europa League or a domestic competition may be the better route back to Europe this season.
Yeah.
Because I think the league's going to be very difficult. I think we are being left behind at the moment due to the financial regulations, and it's difficult. In Emery, we trust, but it's difficult. I'm probably being hopeful with seventh. I don't know. The preseason hasn't been kind. Right, sixth, I am going Newcastle. I think balancing the Champions League and the Premier League will still be difficult. I think Eddie Howe will have learnt a lot from a few years before. But the reason I say it's going to be difficult is because what recruitment have they really had? Yes, they brought in Alanga. But apart from him, there's not a whole lot added to this squad of quality at the moment. And if Isaac goes, I don't know. I don't know about six, to be
Different
honest.
story all of a sudden.
Because how many strikers out there of a similar sort of build and quality that can they get? Do you know what I mean? Gyökeres has gone to Arsenal. Ekateki's gone to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Right. So you're looking at Sesko potentially, and then who else? Do you know what I mean? So I'm not saying Isaac will go, but I'm saying if he goes, this is going to be a tough 12 months for Newcastle because I think they could finish as low as 11th or 12th without Isaac.
It's interesting because if he his impact and his influence on that team is probably as big as Alan Shearer, you would probably say right now, like how big he is to that team. Because like you say, the difference is insane.
Look, he's the second best striker in the league.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And that can't be replaced. So they have to keep him. If they'd have signed Ekateke and sold it Isaac, I think maybe we have a different story. But if they can't bring someone in to replace him, they're in a lot of trouble if he goes. Fifth, I have got Tottenham. I think Spurs will have a decent year this year. I think, like you guys have said, Thomas Frank is a very clever manager, very astute. I think is probably the right form. And I look back on last season with Spurs, and I do think they were hard done by. I do think their manager was hard done by as well. How's his name gone? Where's his name gone? But anyway, I think Spurs were very hard done by. Their injuries were. Yes, thank you.
Hey.
Their injuries were like natural disaster style kind of stuff. I've never seen a team get absolutely buried by injuries like that. It was next level injuries. And I think if you take those injuries away, I think Tottenham probably finish in the top 8. Do you know what I mean? I think their league top half at least. I think their league season was destroyed by injuries. So I think it's harder. Like United were poor. Tottenham were, I think, unlucky at times. But what I think does go their way this year, they've got Frank, who's got a point to prove as a top manager, let's say, wants to be a top 6 manager, who's got a point to prove. Dominic Solanke needs to perform this year, and I think he will. I think it's his season to say, I am one of England's top 5 strikers, and he needs to go and get 15 to 18 goals this season. Also, the 2 signings they've made as such, obviously, Matthias Tell has signed permanently from Bayern Munich, and I think he's actually an underrated piece of business because if you look at Thomas Frank's history with wide inside forward players with good agility, a good turn of pace, and an ability to twist and turn around defenders, aka Brian Mbuemo and Vissa, there is history there of success, and I think he's a manager that could make Tell work. And I think Kudus is a great great move as well. I don't think we saw the best of him at West Ham. I think he's a good striker. A team with a point to prove is what I've written. I think no cup run will help them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you mean. They're like put out their weakest team for that because they need to focus on what matters. Sort of thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
I think that Spurs are going to be one of those sides this season that it is going to be a real breath of fresh air in a way. But it'll be interesting to see how Thomas Frank deals with Europe. I think that's what's going to be the most interesting part. Does he just like go? Does he go for it, or does he go like, do you know what? We need to focus on the league, get everything right, get the structure in place first. So it'll be interesting. Me to hear that you have said that Chelsea are going to win the title. Okay, so if you want after this, just cut it all off. Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll see about
that. I've gone for Chelsea to finish fourth. I have. I think that even though it would be the same position as last season, I think our consistency this season, a bit like I said about Bournemouth, is going to be so much better. And I think the Club World Cup victory is a real stepping stone into this season for us. We've signed obviously João Pedro. We've got Delap. The one thing that's missing for me that could change this team from a team that is a top four challenger to a potential team could be involved in the title race is the goalkeeper. It is just the goalkeeper. He had a good pre-season, but it's like now it's can he do it in the league for a 38-game season? I'm not 100% convinced yet. But the team, we look very solid in the midfield, especially. I think it'd be fair to argue we've probably got one of the best midfields in the Premier League, I think, going into next season. Attacking wise, I'm very happy. If something's going to be our biggest downfall, it's definitely defensively. I just pray that we don't leak goals like we did last season. So yeah.
Okay, interesting. Third.
This bit was hard. I only decided this like an hour ago. I've gone for Manchester City. I have. I think their era of dominance it's either won over or it's going through a transition period. I don't think they'll win the league. They've got one of the best strikers in the world in Haaland. The thing that made me laugh with a lot of things is everyone said, "Oh, Haaland had a real bad season last year." I'm like,
20 goals.
He had a bad season. He scored 20 goals. If I had a bad season and scored that many goals, I'm happy. Like
a Burma got 20. Burma got like 20, and everyone was singing his praises. But Haaland got 20 bad season. Yeah, I get that. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. The signings they've made, they're definitely for the future. If they are at the top of the league come the end of the season, I would be surprised. I think personally, but yeah, I also am I right in thinking Guardiola's contract ends at the end of the season?
I don't know, but it's an interesting point.
I think this could be his last season as well. If it is his last season, I would not be surprised if he goes, "I'm done."
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised.
Stu, let's go your fourth before we get on to that.
I guess this is going to be kind of mildly boring because obviously I think me and Matt got the exact same positions. I think with this one. So I mean, after when we talk about third, but like fourth, yeah, Chelsea. I mean, again, it's like let's not underestimate that. Basically, they won the Conference League and the Club World Cup. Like whatever you think about those tournaments, it's still getting that kind of winning feeling back at Chelsea that they haven't had for a while. But yeah, again, the good signings. Obviously, the striker position, very good. Definitely kind of going to be an improvement from was it last season, and obviously the midfield. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. It sounds unusual. With Matt with one of the best midfield, but one of the best midfielders in the league. But yeah, I mean, again, it's a situation of it's going to be a situation of I think the goalkeeper situation definitely needs to be sorted. That like he's inconsistent. You can't he had some good times, but yeah, and obviously again he's still got quite young defensive defense back there. Have you? Chelsea, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like
Colwill, Badiashile, Kukurea is I think our most. No, Reece James I think is our oldest player defensively. So
yes, like you just maybe I don't know who we can get it. Maybe if you just get someone a little bit experience in there, just to hold the line and that do wonders for that Chelsea side. But yeah, I think when it comes to the obvious ones, yeah, I think if you went by the logic of the who's won the transfer window stuff, you would say they're definitely in the top four in that when it comes to who they're brought in, and so. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I just think it's Chelsea definitely. I just think it's with everyone's kind of got a little bit iffy. You look at, but Chelsea's one with obviously the other teams we're going to talk about, and the top three have looked like they're definitely strengthened. So I think fourth's wouldn't surprise me if they go a little bit higher, but yeah, I think fourth's good for them.
And I assume you've got City third as well, then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Again, anyone kind of puts them a little bit higher. I guess is going by the logic that last season was a blip, and it was just like, well, was it? Was it what you got injured and then just basically the whole system fell apart? But yeah, I mean, I think as we pointed out before, like losing Kevin De Bruyne, like yes, he wasn't playing as well. Yes, he wasn't. He's a bit injured, but a person of that quality going and like kind of replace that, it's going to be tough for them. Because obviously, when he didn't have anything like that last season, they struggled big time. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, they've got again the good players in. I think they probably won't be as like they probably won't go for like a direct. There'll definitely be more of the City we're used to. I think this season. But yeah, I just think it's still a transition. I think for them, I haven't seen their signings and gone, oh my god, they're gonna rip the league apart. It's like I've gone, okay, it's a slow progress. Like give me 2-3 years and they'll be back. Obviously, depending on factors outside of football, but if you go by the football definition, yeah, I think a couple. And obviously, but in the Pep Guardiola thing, that'll be an interesting thing. Maybe if he likes, maybe I think it's next year. I don't think it's then this season. It's the season after. I think it's a 2-year deal. If I remember.
Might be.
Might be.
But he's getting there though. I think at some point, if maybe this might be just more luck, but based hope. But like if he has a bad season this season, he might go. You know what? I've done all I can. And also Pep's got something to prove as well because obviously he keeps getting them criticisms of a guy that basically like he can't rebuild a team. He just basically buys away. Like I think that kind of stuff really gnaws at a guy like that. But yeah, I just think the two I've put that's going to be second and first is still, I think, way better. The boy way better than at the moment. But yeah, I'm putting City third.
I think third and fourth is probably going to be the same for a lot of people in the country. It's the same for me. Chelsea fourth, City third.
We all agree on something.
We do just little points. As Matt said, Conference League and Club World Cup wins going to massively boost confidence. But this is the big bit for me, and I think this is why I've said fourth for Chelsea and not higher. Pedro at 23, Delap, a young striker, and Gittins, who they've got from Dortmund, all really great younger players to build a team around. So this may not be the year they go and win something, but in the next 3 years they're going to real challenge if all the things come into place, which I think it could. I put nobody will want to play this Chelsea team this year. This is the team. Like if we're talking dark horses, Chelsea are the dark horse. Everybody will hate going to Stamford Bridge this year. Everybody will hate having Chelsea turn up. We could be looking at FA Cup winners. We could be looking at League Cup winners. They're that sort of team this year.
Keep it coming.
City, I've put not enough of a rebuild yet to see City challenging. I think that's the key. They needed a rebuild and they haven't. I think Reinders is a brilliant signing. I think Cherky is a brilliant signing, but they're not necessarily enough. I think they'll go under the radar as good players, but not going to be enough. Yeah. And I have written here, and I swear to God, I read this afternoon before Matt said anything. Guardiola era could end with a whimper and he leaves at the end of the season, whether his contract's up or not. I think he goes because I think he knows that he is done. He's tired. When I say there's not enough of a rebuild yet, a lot of that is that Guardiola looks done. He looks like Klopp did at the end. He looks done.
I think they convinced him more than anything else. I don't think it's a situation of him going, I definitely want to stay. I think it was more they went, okay, well, we'll chuck more money at you. If you stay just for another 1 or 2 more years, like, stay with, and rebuild something, and then that'd be okay. But yeah, he looks like guys like it's interesting with Pep because it's like has his era of style of football like over.
I don't think it's a style of football. I think a lot of teams still play that style of football. I just think him as a manager just looks tired. I am baffled that City haven't appointed or gone for Alonso. I feel like that was the perfect sort of next step for them, next new era. But we'll see. That's a different conversation. So we've
I
got
think
fourth and third.
I,
Go on.
I think that the thing was with Alonso is that the only way that was ever going to happen was if Guardiola had left already.
Yeah, but that's what I expected to happen. That's what I'm saying. I didn't expect Guardiola to sign another new deal. I felt like it was the right time. His players had stepped away. De Bruyne, Rodri's getting older, and the rest.
Yeah.
It just felt like a new time for City to rebuild and do something different. And I feel like they're hanging on to the past a little. They're a good team. They'll stay in the top four, but they're not going to challenge. Which brings us to our first and second now. I think, and I could be wrong, but I think we're all going to say the same thing here. So let's go round the table. I don't want comments. I just want one word, and I want your champions, Matt.
By the way, I could be wrong.
One word. Easily.
Arsenal.
Okay, well, I'm wrong. We're not all the same because I think me and Stu, by the looks of his response and my response, me and Stu have gone Liverpool.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I can't not back my own team. I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And obviously that means me and Stu have got Arsenal second, and Matt's got Liverpool third. Matt, we'll leave you for the end because I think yours is the more controversial. Sorry, second. Matt, what do you think? Because yours is more controversial. And actually, I'm going to go first here because I know what Stu's going to say. This is what I've got.
Yeah.
This is what I've got under Liverpool. Right, won the transfer window. Right, Florian Wirtz could win Player of the Season. Ekateke and potentially Isaac, if it goes through, could add a stupid amount of goals. Yeah. Watch out for someone like Federico Chiesa having a good season. I do think he's a good player, and there's something underrated about him. The fullbacks as well, Frimpong and Kirkes, what additions they are. The only concern I have with Liverpool is whether they will be able to balance going for the Champions League and the Premier League. I think they have the squad to do it. I think they could win the treble, to be honest. They're that strong. And yes, I have Arsenal second, but I do think Liverpool will run away with this. We think this season was bad. Liverpool are the best team in the country by some distance right now. If you look at the squads, they are close to Man City's 100-point sort of team at this stage. They are scarily good to me. Just quickly on Arsenal, I've put Gyökeres adds the goals that this team has been missing. Potentially, hopefully, that's. But on paper, he adds the goals. Saka, Odegaard, Rice, and Saliba, 4 world-class players at this point. The concerns, the injuries, because the squad isn't very deep, and the pressure, because Mikel Arteta has to win something this year. Yeah. If he ends the season trophyless, even if it's an FA Cup or a League Cup, if he ends it trophyless, he will go. He will be sacked. I don't know if he has to win the big one because this Liverpool team's mighty strong, but if he wins an FA Cup, I think he'll be enough. But he has to win something. If he finishes second and crashes out the semi-finals again, he's done. Stu?
Well, yeah, obviously, I guess with the little thing, I definitely 100% agree with the obviously Liverpool win league, and also 100% that we've won the transfer window. I mean, we have. I mean, if I had my way, or just if we done our transfer stuff, it'd just be Liverpool every time, every episode. But we've kind of reserved ourselves because obviously we can't be doing that too much. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't again any Liverpool fan was. I mean, there was rumours going around that it's going to be a big summer for us, but no one in a million was thinking that we're going to be spending all this money in this game. I think Wirtz coming in is huge for us. I mean, obviously, it was Ekateke. I think he's, as much as people are kind of trying to downplay him because obviously all of a sudden just because he's got a bad goal conversion rate and all of a sudden he's a terrible player, but he's not. So just trying to play down. But yeah, I mean, I think he's gonna. I mean, I would love Isak, but I think Ekateke will think we're okay, even if you don't get Isak with Ekateke.
I actually think you'll get both. I think, and that's why I'm saying he's so strong. I do think you'll get Isak.
I was joking when I said it. When I said I want both, but I didn't. They must have heard me. They must have heard me at Liverpool when I said I want both, and they're like, okay, we'll go and get them. But I have rumours that Liverpool are preparing a big bid, and obviously with Luis Diaz going, maybe that might help with the with the money as well. But
Nunes will go as well.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think depending where if he goes to Saudi Arabia or maybe if that, I don't think that move to Napoli's still on. I think that kind of collapsed. I think, but I think Italy would be the best hope for him because I think the way he plays will work wonders in that league. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think I just don't see us like out of all the teams that kind of like have done transfers. Like, yes, Arsenal strengthened. They finally got that striker they've been desperate for ages. And obviously, I think they're strengthened on the left as well, like on the left hand side and stuff. But and obviously with Zubimendi obviously coming in there, so obviously they've definitely got again up there with the best midfields in the league. But and obviously we all forget he's one of the best defenses as well. So it looks like a more of a complete side than it was last year. But again, it's like that's the problem with this team. Is like they look good on paper, but you have to when you got a project, you've got to, at one point have to win something. You can't be.
So, I was just going to say, so I actually think in my brain the best way to say this is Arsenal have put a transfer window together that takes them to the same level as the Liverpool team that have just won the league. They're as good as that team, in my opinion, potentially. They're the strongest Arsenal team we've seen in a long time. More complete. I get all of that. But then Liverpool have gone, yeah, but we're now just going to make us 10 times better. And that's the problem, I think, for Arsenal this season. I know Matt said Arsenal to win, and I'm very intrigued as to why in a second. But for me, Arsenal have just it's a bad time to be this good Arsenal in a way this year. I think they're going to have a really good year, but they're just not going to be good enough because Liverpool look scary. I think is the best way to say it. Yeah. But Matt, I am intrigued. Arsenal to win the league for the first time in 22 years. 23 years, sorry. Hit me. No, 22.
Yeah, 22 years, yeah. It does make me sick to say it because I can't stand Arsenal. But I have to say, getting that deal for Gyökeres over the line is actually a big piece of business. He was the one signing from the get-go that everyone was saying they have to get him over the line. They have to get him over the line. And they've done it. So they've got him. They've obviously brought in Zubimendi as well. In my personal opinion, Arsenal's starting 11 is better than Liverpool's. Is better than Liverpool's in my eyes. I do think the only area, if someone said to me, what's the one area you would say is stronger for Liverpool, it'd probably be Martinelli's position, if anywhere. I would probably argue Martinelli's position.
No, hang on. No, right, hang on.
Hang on.
So what you're saying is that Saka's stronger than Salah.
No, hang on. In terms of the quality, like, so what they've got in that position. So, like, if Martinelli gets injured, yeah, there's not
squad. You're talking squad depth.
Yeah, squad depth. I'm not talking about the quality of players. Sorry, just to clarify, not the quality of the actual player, just that position. Saka is not better than Salah. I'm not saying that. That is not.
I just love the way you're backtracking already. No, like just a little bit of pressure and he's backtracking.
All right. Even squad depth, that baffles me because literally, and my reasons for Arsenal finishing second is injuries because their squad depth isn't there.
But I'm only saying that in Martinelli's position. Everywhere else, I think that if Liverpool get an injury, like say like Van Dijk gets injured, for example, yeah, I think Liverpool's defence across the board weakens. Whereas for Arsenal, if one of their players in the defence gets injured, I think they can cope with it because they've got the players to then cope with it. Like Zubimendi can fall back into that position as well. The other thing as well, and this is what I say, this is why the biggest argument for me is this. Arsene Wenger, when he first joined Arsenal, yeah, he finished second, he done it again, then he done it again, and then he finally won the league. He then won the league. Sometimes things take a few years to come together, and I think this Arsenal side is exactly that. I really do. And I think this title race is going to be as close as when Man City won it and Liverpool. I think that you got to like 99, 98 points. Do you remember?
Yeah, I try not to remember.
It's like they were insanely close. I think we're talking a title race that could be that close
In some ways, I kind of agree in terms of these are the two best teams, and they're going to be the two best teams by some distance. I get all of that. What you've just said there, where you said you take Van Dijk out of Liverpool, they're going to be a lot worse. Yeah, obviously. You take Saliba out of Arsenal, they'll be a lot worse. You take Declan Rice out of Arsenal, they'll be a lot
It's
worse.
the argument they always use all the time. Like, I've how many times have I heard that? Like when we were going against City, it's like when they were like going, "Oh, if Mo Salah goes, like if he's injured, Liverpool are done. If Van Dijk gets injured, I mean, with Van Dijk, we had a season where it proved when he was gone, our defense fell apart. But
what I feel is that if Gyökeres doesn't score for say 3-4 games, Arsenal still have the goal scoring power to get over the line anyway, because they've got Saka, they've got what's his name, Havertz. I think if they can keep him fit, he can score them a good.
I'm baffled.
12, 13 goals.
I'm so baffled.
I think Salah is obviously a good goal. He's going to get a lot of the goals. Ekitike, I think he'll get some goals, but I feel like that
for the goals.
If Liverpool wanted to become that side that's going to dominate for years to come, Isak is the player they should have gone for, not Ekitike.
Which I think they will anyway. I mean, I'm baffled. I'm baffled because what you just said there was you take Gyökeres out of Arsenal, they've still got enough goals to win the league. Have we not said for the past year that they need a striker to win the league?
Is if the goals dry up for say 3-4 games, that
so take Gyökeres' goals out of Arsenal, they've got enough goals to still win the league.
But if they need that,
score goals. I'm not saying they won't score any goals. I'm not saying like get rid of him. Every striker goes through a barren period. What I'm saying is they've still got the goal scorers to get them a few.
I don't disagree that they've got goal scorers in the team, but to say they've got more goal scorers in the team than this Liverpool team is baffling to me. I don't like the truth of the matter is right now, you look at Liverpool and every position they've got two players that would probably walk into a lot, probably 19 of the other teams, to be honest, 18 probably. I don't understand the squad depth thing. I just don't, because you look at the fact that I mean, I'm saying this, in my opinion, they'll get Isak, right? And maybe that's different for you then, Matt, if they do. But we're saying
Isak, this is a whole different.
We're saying, in my opinion, Isak striker, Ekitike backup striker, realistically, Salah on the right with Chiesa backing him up, right? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Those sort of positions. What they've done in the summer is bought the best young midfielder in Europe.
And I do think he will dominate the Premier League.
Absolutely.
I think the first season is going to be a transition for him.
They bought the best young midfielder. They've brought the best young striker in Europe as well, Ekitike, right? In my opinion, they'll buy the most informed striker in the Premier League, and possibly in Europe, in Isak, right? They've bought the best left back in the Premier League last season, Milos Kerkez, right? They've bought one of the top 3 right backs in Europe, in Jeremy Frimpong. I think they're also being for Mark Gahey, by the way, as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mark Gahey walk through the door either, because they are going in.
I think so, obviously, because everyone was all reacting with our pre-season defeat to Peter, was it AC Milan? But he came out in a press conference saying, we're a bit light on defence, so don't be surprised if we go back in for that deal. I mean, I give you a point. Yes, maybe if you look defensively, we do look, because obviously we let Kwanzaa go, so we do need another defender. But so basically the logic behind it is basically like they've got squad depth. The problem they had last season was they didn't have enough squad depth.
I don't think Arsenal got better squad depth than Liverpool. I don't.
But they're starting 11. That's my argument. I think that Arsenal's midfield is better than Liverpool's. I do.
I think the midfields are close. I think the midfields are close. I think Rice and Odegaard are world class. Zubimendi definitely can get there. I agree. Yeah. That 3 is brilliant. But then you look at Liverpool's 3, and you go Florian Wirtz, McAllister, and probably Szoboszlai, maybe Gravenberch potentially, probably Szoboszlai. That's still
it is.
By the end of the season, I think we'll be saying all 3 of those players are world class.
Yeah, I think
opinion.
put it this way. I think that what's going to win the league this season isn't going to be like who's got the best defense, who's got the most goals. I think it's who's going to win the midfield battles in those big games. That for me that's how big that area of pitch could be.
I get that.
Because
I just think looking at Liverpool's transfer window, and I actually think this may not be a good thing for Liverpool in a way. I think it's probably put an incredible amount of pressure on Arne Slot this year, because if they don't win the league or the Champions League, let's say one of those two things this season, I think he's sacked. I think he's close for the sack, because they've spent more money than they've spent in the entire ownership, really, and they have backed him, and they have made, on paper, they are the best team in Europe, if I'm honest, on paper. So there's a lot of pressure on them.
I think the thing with, I'm not that excited about Ekitike. I'm not. And it's not to do with the goals thing. It's not necessarily to do with the goals. It's more too many players are becoming versatile. Like, just be brilliant in one position. Isak is brilliant in one position. Like, Gyökeres, if he does produce the numbers, is brilliant in one position. You don't need to be good across the front line and a little bit further back. Just be brilliant in that one position, and I think that everyone will come in for you.
Do you think Ekitike has been signed, though, to be the player that's going to get you 30 Premier League goals this year, or 25? I don't think he is. I think if he gets 15 Premier League goals, right, Arne Slot will be over the moon with that. Because it's salary's going to get you the goals. It's Salah still. Do you know what I mean? And Isak, in my opinion.
I think we bought, as I said before, like bought him for, I think, for his pressing and kind of movement, but also I think I've saw some videos like of his ability to assist. Like it's like the Firmino thing. Like the guy that's like, he got one. I think the best season he had was one about that, wasn't it? He hasn't got he didn't get a lot of goals. I mean, he went for a whole year when he didn't score at home. Like they were like, but he's built the way he was able to come into the midfield and kind of link up and he kind of like Mo Salah coming drift inside. Like I think that's why we got him. It's like, I think everyone's kind of freaking out because he's not getting all these goals. But like, again, Liverpool, if you looked at like the numbers of the people we've got before, like, Sadio Mane or Mo Salah before they came, you would look at them going, that's not exactly amazing. But then they've turned out to be amazing players. So, and they've got a good track record. So I get it. It's not the most, glamorous signing as well if you've got Isak. No. But I think he's definitely going to, I think he just get this again, like what we're doing, giving us different options. It's like different solutions to problems. Like example, like Verts can like play in in attacking midfield, but also you can play a false nine. You can play on the left. You can you got all these players, even like Frimpong with him playing on the right. He can play where Mo Salah is when sometimes to mix it up. It's just giving us options to have different ways to win.
I do think though that Ekitike, if that's what he's been looked at as, for me, it's £80 million down the drain. It is, because Verts does all that, does everything of that. He does, because he can play in that advanced position.
He can, but that's not his best position.
It's not, but he's a versatile player. He played everywhere for Bayer Leverkusen in that front line, and he was brilliant at doing all of it. And like giving the ball off to say Salah to run onto and smash the ball in the back of the net. For me, if you're paying £80 million for a striker to be like that, I'm sorry, that is, I personally, I think it's a waste.
But again, it's like the market's like, we all know the market's inflated anyway.
Yeah,
so like
it is.
So basically, if he's 80 million or doing these 70, 70 is worth around about, if you take away the inflation of that, it's probably around about 60, 50 or something like that. If you want to, that seems more reasonable. But again, we're living in the Premier League, in the transfer world, where basically the transfer money is like it's extorted. So, but I don't know. I get it. You want a position of like, you want a guy that just goes like, stays in the box, stays on the line, kind of waits for that, and just like poacher kind of person, old school kind of striker. But it's what people want these days. Would you rather have a front three that's fluid and kind of can all get goals than just one guy? Like it's more of it's probably, and also I just think it's West style of play. I just think it worked. And also, if you get like three of the strikers getting like 15 goals each, and obviously if you get more goals from the midfield, then you got the goals all around, then you'd be laughing. So I get it, but I think I'm obviously I'm not going to big him up as like he's going to be amazing, but I think he's just going to be very very good for us. I think, especially where we play anyway. But if we get Isak, then yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
come back to me next week. I might be having a big grin on my face.
I think that the challenge between these two, for me personally, I would not be surprised if either won the league. I wouldn't. But for me, Arsenal edge it.
I agree. I agree. It's going to be close. I agree. It's going to be close because obviously, if you look at the two teams, but I think it's like Arsenal definitely strengthened, definitely by far. They said before they've finally done what we've been clamoring for them to do for ages. They finally got a striker. Again, it's like you could always flip it saying, well, last time he was in the Premier League, he didn't start a game. But again, we don't, how many times was it so-called Premier League flops come back into league and then become world class? So yeah, well, Mo Salah maybe.
Mo Salah as well, yeah.
Yeah,
but Chelsea was the problem. Anyway, I do want to just say on that point. I do want to say on that point. I think if the transfer window Arsenal have had, if Liverpool had the transfer window they've had in the past 5 years, where they haven't made loads of moves, they've signed some players for the summer, maybe signed one good player, one top player, let's say, right? I think Arsenal win the league. I think genuinely the transfer window that Arsenal have had has closed the gap to last season's team by a lot. This Liverpool team is scared, and I genuinely think we talk about shocks of the season. We've talked about Everton being high in our list, or Forest being low, or Brighton, or whatever. If Liverpool do not win the league, that will be the biggest shock of the season for me.
Genuinely, huge disappointment.
It'll be a huge disappointment. Yeah,
I mean, I do have that feeling back on mind because obviously, again, as I pointed out many times, I am kind of traumatized from previous like Liverpool seasons where like, oh, we've won it, and we won it in the last time, and then it went down the drain. It kind of was rubbish. But I think we've learned. I like to believe we've learned from that, and that's why I think we've gone big this summer because we've gone well. Maybe they've gone well. City's not as the power as they was, obviously, and we're seeing an opportunity here to maybe go, what, we can take this league like for a couple of years because obviously City not going to be up there as much, I don't think, for at least a couple of years at least. So maybe I mean, this is what we should have done last time, but obviously we didn't go there, and obviously that we paid the price for that. So this time we've gone, no, we've got, and kind of everyone's freaking out with the where are they getting all this money? It's like they haven't spent a lot for the last couple of years, and obviously they're not paying it all in one go. Like they're doing.
I mean, also they're Liverpool, and PSR says they will have money. So because they're Liverpool, come on, let's be honest. The history of the club, the merchandising, all of that.
Liverpool's been playing this game before there was even a rule when it comes to like sustainability. So that's why I think with everyone's kind of been struggling and trying to figure out, Liverpool's been ahead of the curve because we've been playing PSR when it wasn't a thing. Because obviously that's how so it's not surprising that all of a sudden we've just gone, okay, we've got all this money. I'm surprised we've done it because in Liverpool we have all the money, but we kind of resist. But in this case, maybe we've just gone, no, we're going to spend it all. But I mean, if you get Isak, I mean, I think I don't know what I'd do. I think I
think I'll be in the same camp as you guys if they signed Isak.
It's insane. I mean.
Let's end it up. It's a long one. We've done a season preview, so let's end it up. And I'm throwing this at you. I want 3 words to describe the next Premier League season. Right? I'll go first. Give you a second to think. And I am saying this off the back of we could be looking at a season where we have Erling Haaland scoring all the goals, Alexander Isak, Ekitike, Victor Gyökeres, Joe Pedro, Liam Delap, Ollie Watkins in there, Dominic Solanke. I've probably missed someone as well. Possibly Benjamin. Who?
Cole Palmer.
Strikers I'm talking about. Possibly Benjamin Sesko, maybe going to United, and a few others down the league. My 3 words are strikers are important this year. The people who more than ever. Goal getters are going to be important. We spoke about them teams at the bottom. Where are they getting the goals? At the top, we've got for the first time in probably 7, 8, 9 years, we've got probably 5 of the 7 best centre forwards on the planet in the Premier League. So it's exciting. Who wants to go first?
I've got mine. And
Go
I think it goes back to an old quote by like an old commentator as well. But like this season, on paper, I know it's very easy to say that, but on paper, it looks like such an exciting season. And with the World Cup round the corner, World Cup year, they always like produce the goods. I always find they're always fantastic, the best they can be, because they know the World Cup's around the corner. They want to be playing in that World Cup, so they'll produce the best they can. I think the Premier League now, for the first time in a long time, has got the best players in the world in their league as well. I think there's a couple of other players you could argue, yes, they're over there, but a lot of them are now in the Premier League. Liverpool look like a force that could, like you say, could dominate for years to come, not just in England, but in European football as well. Arsenal look like a really good side, and if they can produce the goods, will dominate for years to come as well. Chelsea are always growing as well. Like it looks like a really good time for the Premier League, and this is it. Going off Martin Tyler, and it's live.
Nearly every game, actually, if you hear the Sky Sports advertisement.
215.
215. Stu.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's, as you said, I kind of agree with the idea that it's going to be it's going to be the strikers on the rise yet again. Like the first time in a very long time that a lot of clubs have got very good or very world class strikers in their front line. But I don't know. I mean, from my predictions, I guess it feels like it's a situation of it might solidify kind of to what the new kind of top six might be. Because obviously, as we've got in our predictions, you can sit there and say that we've all pretty much got the same top 4 at least. And obviously, the top 6 is like kind of, because obviously, I just think there's a clear, you could say, there's a little clear gap from like maybe who was for the top 4 to like who's 5th and below. I think so. I think it might be again. It might be like top 4 might be another one of those seasons where it's like it might not be as much as a battle than it was last year. I think it'd be more solidified this year, and the battle's going to be for the other European spots, I think. But yeah, I mean, I think probably say unpredictability. I think there's more uncertainty when it comes to the teams. There's no set. I don't look at not even the promoted sides. I don't look at them and go, I know I've put them to finish bottom, but I just look at that going, I wouldn't be surprised if I've got that completely wrong and someone's going to surprise you. I don't know. I just feel that it's got more unpredictability, and I'm kind of excited to see who's going to be like the Nottingham Forest of this season. Who's going to be the one that goes, how are they up there? What are they doing in the top 4? Like, there's going to be, I feel there's some surprises there, but I think unpredictability would probably be, I think it's way more unpredictable now.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I like the word unpredictable. We only need one from Stu. I like that. Unpredictability. Look, we are nearly just over 2 hours or so into this. So I know we mentioned about putting David and Matt Ty's predictions into this, but what I think we should do, because we should have it in the episode, but I don't want to give us more time to debate, to be honest, because we'll be here all night. I think, and sorry to whoever's editing this for giving you an extra job, I think right at the end of this, after we say goodbye, we're going to put them up and they're 1 to 20. We'll use whatever sort of website apps we need to do and print screens and whatever, but we will get them up of what their 1 to 20 is, so you guys get to see it. Very, very interesting picks. And as a spoiler, Matt Thurney's not the only one who thinks Arsenal's going to win the league. Yeah, let us know what you think about ours, what you think about and theirs as well. Let us know your top 20 if you've thought about it that far. Definitely a lot to go off here. Our social media clips editor is going to have more than enough to work with from this recording. And yeah, we're not done previewing this new season. Next week we should be back. What day is it next week? Yeah, we should be back next week. I'll be here. I think Stu will be here. David will be here. I think Matt's away. Hence why we did this a week early. But we'll be looking at sort of potential manager of the season, players of the season, first sackings, etc. So we're not done previewing the new season, but it ain't far away now.
I did have an interesting question for all you guys, in terms of like the transfer.
We're not ending on another question. You can give us a question.
No.
For next season.
This is for next week's episode.
Okay.
So for next week's episode, something to have a think about.
Paid by the hour here, guys.
Well, it's not half an hour yet, so it doesn't go into 3 hours, so we're good. What I was going to say is I want you to name a transfer that has happened in history that has benefited all parties involved. Okay, so what I mean is, there's a player that's moved to a side. Yeah, so say, I don't know, someone like Philip Coutinho, he moved to Barcelona. All that money come to Liverpool. It benefited Liverpool. The signing didn't benefit Barcelona or Coutinho because it didn't work out in the end. But can you think of a signing that benefited everyone involved in the end?
Okay. One to remember for next week, Stu. We'll give our answers next week.
Yeah.
Say
Alright.
goodbye, everybody. We are well over. Let's call this. New season. We're excited, and we'll be here every Monday. Some of us will be, with all the action and all the reviews and blah 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 blah. You get the point.
And it's
We'll
live.
We'll be back next week. Say bye, everybody.
Take
Bye.
care. See you later.